Okay, we're on 6H, standard form of the equation of a line. The big idea here is that every line has an equation in standard form. AX plus BY equals C, where A, B, and C are typically integers, not fractions or decimals. So unless otherwise told, write your standard form as an integer form. Your vocabulary, you need to know what linear combination is. Standard form we just talked about, and what is an oblique. The standard form of the equation is helpful if you're trying to figure out how much how much of different things you can make for a fixed cost. Let's say for your market day you've got 2 items. You have a fixed amount of money, C, to spend on it, and you have a certain cost to make each item. So the cost for, let's say, necklaces is X, the cost for bracelets is Y, the number of necklaces times the cost plus the number of bracelets times the cost per bracelet is going to give you then your total cost for this item, and you'll be able to figure out how much of each you could make. So you could use it in that way. Let's go through this and find some calculations that could, how to work through these calculations, how to get there. In this first one, we're really just being asked to graph something. And here we've got the graph of 5x plus 2y equals 10. We need a little graph paper, so let's put some in there. Okay, we've got our graph paper now, and what we're going to do here is make a little t-table to help with this. So we've got to graph it, so this is always a good choice here, is I'm going to put in my x and a y. It doesn't have to be hard, so I'm going to choose, if x is 0, what's y? Well, 2 times 5 is 10, so y is 5. I'm going to go the other way. If y is 0, what's x? Well, it's got to be 2. I've got 2 points. I can draw a line. So I'm able to graph this, so I've got at 2, 0 is 1 point, and 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is another point, and now I can go ahead and put in a line to connect those. Put some arrows on the end indicating it goes forever, and I've got my line for the standard form equation of 5x plus 2y equals 10. This next equation asks us to rewrite an equation in slope-intercept form and write it into standard form with integer coefficients. And we want to know the values of a, b, and c. So remember that the standard form is ax plus by equals c. So I need to get it into that form, and I want it in integer form, so I have a common denominator for my slope and for my y-intercept, which is 5, and I'll multiply everything by 5. And I'll do that as my very first step. So I'll have 5y, and 5 times a negative 3/5 x is a negative 3x. And 5 times a negative minus 1/5 is minus 1. So I've got the first step done. My next step is to manipulate this so I get the x value over. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides of the equation. And I'm going to have 3x plus 5y, 3x plus 3x minus 3x is just 0, is equal to a negative 1. So a equals 3, b equals 5, and c equals a negative 1. And that's it. We've got our an equation written in standard form with integer coefficients. Okay, so we've got our results here. Let's head on to the next one. And next example. As you're reading through this, this is having you work through various equations and rewriting them in standard form or slope-intercept form. The reason for doing this is sometimes it's a lot easier to work in standard form than in slope-intercept form. Equally true, there are times where slope-intercept form is far superior for working with. You're going to find that as you work with equations, it's useful to be able to go back and forth between them. We're on to example 3, where we're asked to rewrite y equals a negative 0.8x in standard form with integer values of a, b, and c. Let's go ahead and put this together. We've got our y equals a negative 0.8x plus our b value here is just 0. This is not an integer form, it is 8/10, so it might be useful to rewrite that as a negative 8/10 x plus 0. And now we multiply everything by 10. We get 10y equals a negative 8, because 10 times a negative 8/10 is a negative 8x. And 10 times 0 is still just 0. I'm going to add 8x to both sides of the equation. So 8x plus 10y. And let's see, a negative 8x plus 8x is equal to 0. And 0 plus 0 is 0. I now have my equation written in standard form, where a equals 8, b equals 10, and c equals 0. This is in standard form with integer coefficients. That'll wrap this up for the standard form calculations. There's an activity that asks you to write these equations in slope-intercept form and standard form. It's on page 377. You should go through that and get some practice doing it. You're going to be asked to do this in a number of different ways. Remember to put your standard form equations to make sure that they have integer coefficients, unless you're told not to worry about it. If you haven't been told that, then the practice is to put it into integer form. Good luck with this. I'll see you for the mastery quiz. If you have questions, come see me. Let me know. I'd be glad to help out.